back to your irregular Latvian news. As I'm doing these so irregularly, literally I think every once in a year at this point, here are some things that caught my eye in May 2023. The month started with some news of violence among children in one of Riga's districts, or as we call them, mikrorajoni, micro regions. It's like a district in Riga called Imanta. There seem to be various versions of how it started, but eventually one group of children found themselves being chased by another group of children, threatening to beat them up and apparently armed with knives. So the potential victims scrambled to find a place to hide by knocking on every door that would open. Some did get let in. Kind-hearted people let them in and also called the police after hearing their stories. However, the police took just under an hour to arrive, and one boy was not so lucky. He did not manage to escape, and the violent mob of children took him to the forest where he was beaten and robbed, and the whole thing was also filmed by his peers and then circulated on social media. Some days later, the beef was not over, as using some communication apps, the children were gathering for another big fight, but this plan was luckily intercepted and defused by the police. It seems that at this point, 5 of the children, 3 under the age of 14 and 2 at the age of 14, have been singled out as the main perpetrators or instigators of this violence. And it's not clear what is going to be their fate. As you know, in Latvia, children under 14 do not face criminal liability, while the 2 that are 14 are facing some criminal proceedings. As to the children who are 13, as Nils Saks Konstantinov, a representative of the Adolescent and Youth Psychotherapy Center, said, "It is necessary to find a solution for what to do with at-risk young people who are prone to violence, because apparently families are not coping with them, and there is no institution at the national level that could work with them." Indeed, there used to be one social education correctional institution, Naukšāni, but it was closed after irregularities were detected in the social correction education institution. A long-term capacity building work was carried out with the staff, but all efforts to improve the institution's work in order to meet the interests of the children have failed. So, for safety of the staff and the children, this single institution for juvenile correctional education was closed. This was in 2022. And there was also talk that a replacement would be envisaged, but so far, no news on that front. So hopefully this horrible episode of violence in Imanta is going to accelerate whatever needs to be done in order to create a system that would help Latvian children to stay away from violence and to be protected from it. May also brought us a bird flu outbreak in Latvia. Avian influenza virus type H5N1 was identified as the culprit of birds dying in mass in Latvia's eastern and northern regions. However, when I researched it a couple of days ago, there had also been instances detected in Roja, which is in Kurzeme, so already to the way of the Kolka raks. Citizens are strongly advised to help contain the virus by not going near dead birds, not touching them, and also not bringing sick-looking birds home, because unfortunately there is no cure for this bird disease. Meanwhile, this outbreak of bird flu has also given the spotlight back to a part of society who tend to put their trust in the conspirational, and in this case the new conspiracy, well, not exactly new, it's been around for a while, but the newly resurfaced conspiracy theory that is circulating is that birds are dying not because of bird flu, but because of ķīmiskās traces, the chemical traces which are left behind by planes as they fly over. And in fact, the proof that people have for this is that you can, with the naked eye, see the white lines that appear in the sky after a plane has passed, which science says is steam being ejected from the plane's engines that freezes at the altitude of 10 kilometers, where it is indeed pretty cold. But that does not seem to be a plausible explanation for those who believe that the planes are there to kill us by spreading COVID, or in this case, whatever it is that makes these birds die. And so posts on Facebook such as, "Horrible thing, this bird flu. I heard somewhere that it tends to outbreak right where unidentified planes are passing over, but it's just a coincidence. Is it not?" That's the latest on Latvian bird flu theories. Poor birds. Latvia climbs to number 16 in the World Index for Press and Media Freedom. So that puts us in front of many countries like France and Germany, but still behind our Baltic neighbors, Estonia and Lithuania, who rank about 10 spots higher than us. In the accompanying report, it was said about Latvia that journalists work in a fairly free and safe environment, but access to trustworthy and pluralistic information, especially by the Russian-speaking population, has been a serious issue. Insufficient funding has also been mentioned as a serious issue by this report. Given that strengthening media freedom and the safety of journalists is one of the biggest goals of the Latvian presidency at the Council of Europe, which has just started in the month of May following the Icelandic presidency, hopefully next year we can climb another couple of spots in this index, and that the working conditions for Latvian journalists will become even better. So, by the way, if you are interested in learning more about the Latvian presidency at the Council of Europe, I put in the description a video made by our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, a very nice video recounting the history of Latvia in this oldest international institution. So, give that a look. And if you are in the region of Strasbourg, then make sure to also check out the cultural events proposed by the presidency. NELP fines TVNet for the use of the word deportation. So while we are still waiting for further improvements to the working conditions of Latvian journalists, there has been somewhat of a scandal surrounding NELP, which stands for National Electronic Mass Media Council, when they decided to impose a fine of 8,500 euros on TVNet, one of the biggest news agencies in Latvia, for failing to respect due precision and neutrality by not changing the course of the conversation or explaining the topic to the audience when the word deportation, in Latvian deportācija, was mentioned in an interview by Alexejs Rosļikovs, a Saeima deputy from the Party for Stability. So the context that he used it in was they were talking about potential candidates for the presidential election, and he expressed his discontent with the Latvian judicial plan not to renew permanent residency permits for those Russian citizens who are permanent residents but failed to complete a standard basic Latvian proficiency test. The bottom line is that some Russian citizens who fail this test would be facing forced expulsion from the country, as their permanent residence permits would not be renewed. And about this situation, Rosļikovs used the word deportācijas. So the argument of NELP then is that the word deportācija or deportation, especially when used in the month of March, for Latvian people has one singular meaning, and that is the mass deportation of Latvians to Siberia and other faraway places in the Soviet Union by the Stalinist regime in the early years of the Soviet occupation of Latvia. The correct word TVNet should have used in the interview is piespiedu izsūtīšana, literally forced expulsion. And NELP even got independent experts from the Latvian Occupation Museum who, surprise, surprise, agreed with their interpretation of the word deportācija. The Latvian language, however, does not seem to agree, as anyone doing a quick search in a dictionary or on Thesaurs LV can see that the first meaning of the word deportācija is indeed piespiedu izsūtīšana. So it's safe to say that the majority of Latvian society does not really appreciate this fine, and it was also met with a lot of backlash from prominent news and entertainment outlets, and even the Latvian Media Ethics Council, who called this fine disproportionate, undemocratic and bureaucratic. Latvian hockey players won bronze in the World Hockey Championship. This is the year of Latvian hockey. This is a historic event. It was already historic when they made it to the half final, and then all of Latvia bought plane tickets to the Finnish city of Tampere, where the game would take place. But then they took it further and beat USA and took home the bronze medal. Oh my God. To say that Latvia is proud of our hockey players right now is such a huge understatement. The parliament made the next day, so Monday, after the win on Sunday, a public holiday, a national public holiday, in order for Latvians to be free to go to the Freedom Square in the center of Riga to welcome the team home. And they did welcome them. According to police estimations, over 30,000 people gathered in the Freedom Square, and according to some estimates by phone operators, the lines were busier than they have ever been on New Year's. What a success! Amazing, amazing success. So I completely join Latvians in celebrating our hockey players. This is the year for us. We don't even care that we didn't win, because in the semi-finals we lost against Canada, who went on to be world champions. It was a pretty tight game. So huge success, and you will probably not hear the end of us bragging about our hockey win for the next 10 years. We won! New president elected in Latvia. So the time leading up to the presidential election in Latvia was very, very uncertain. There were three candidates: one, Edgars Rinkevičs from the New Unity Party, a woman, Elina Pinto from Progressive Party, and Uldis Pīlēns from the United List Party. And if you asked anyone who would it be a couple of days ago, they would not be able to tell you. And even in the first election round in the parliament, nobody got elected. But then, plot twist, they elected Edgars Rinkevičs, who until now served as our Minister of Foreign Affairs, and who is a very, very well-respected politician across the globe, and also is the first openly homosexual president of Latvia, the Baltics, and the bigger part of the world. I, for one, am very pleased with this outcome. I do think that he was the best candidate for the role. I think he's a very, very good representative of Latvia, has been until now, and I have very, very large hopes for his presidency and what change he might bring to Latvia. And I also think it's a very good look for Latvia, because even though there are questions about what are we going to do with the First Lady role, and some people cannot accept it, some people apparently have been shouting from their balcony their disgust at this situation, as witnessed by Royce Rogers. If you can see it maybe still in his Instagram story. But overall, I have not seen a giant outrage, which is a very, very promising sign for Latvia, and one that I am very happy about. Let's see what the future brings, and congratulations to our new president. And finally, the last bit of amazing news that I have for you today is that Latvia won the Democracy Technologies of the Year award. And so the technology that secured us this win is the online portal manabalss.lv, so myvoice.lv. You have probably already heard me mention this before. It is an online platform where people can submit initiatives and others can vote or sign the petitions under each initiative. And if any of those get over 10,000 votes, then it is sent to the parliament, who have to review it as part of their weekly agenda. Currently, there are around 60 laws that have already been adopted and had their beginnings in manabals.lv. Meanwhile, there are also some laws like the civil partnership law, a project that would give some legal recognition to families of unmarried couples and also same-sex families, has already been passed through Manabals to the parliament a couple of times, but so far has not had enough political support. But hope dies last, as we say in Latvia, and Manabals has proven itself to really be an amazing tool for Latvians to have their voice heard. So congratulations on the award. And that is all I have for you today. I didn't have time to put all the news I found interesting in May in the video, so if you're interested, I put a list in the video description so you can have a read when you have time. In other news, next week I am going to Latvia to live in the countryside with my babushka for a whole week. If you're interested in seeing how I get on in the land of no shower and in the house that my babushka built herself with her own hands, follow me on socials, Instagram and Facebook. I might post some stuff there, but I will definitely post on Patreon. So Patreons, you're in luck, and thank you for supporting my channel. It's been a great week for Latvia. Good month, great week, and hopefully the good spirits are going to keep gracing Latvia and we're gonna see more positive news in the future. But until then, I will see you soon, maybe. Bye!